So you find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree?
Yes.
Is that unanimous?
Yes.
Eric Smith was just 13 years old when he lured a 4-year-old boy into the woods and murdered him in cold blood.
Okay, Eric, let me see your stuff.
On August 2nd, 1993, in a quiet town in New York, 4-year-old Derrick Robie was walking to the park alone for the first time.
Keep reeling.
I got him.
Derek's first big fish. Yay!
He gave me a kiss and I said, I love you. He says, I love you, Mom. And he went hopping off the sidewalk.
Eric, riding his bike, spotted the child and led him off the path into a wooded area nearby. He then attacked, strangling him, striking him with a rock and leaving him on the ground.
I remember him coming up to me in the kitchen. He was really upset and he was crunching his fists and shaking and told me that, he said, Dad, I need help. I feel like I want to hurt somebody.
Derrick's parents grew worried when he never returned home and called the police. Hours later, his body was discovered.
This terrible thing was done. I think everybody, including myself, thought it was an adult.
Neighbors were horrified. Violent crimes like this had never happened in their small, close-knit community.
I've lost my boy. You know, we've lost him. He's gone.
Days later, Eric confessed to his mother, and his parents turned him into the police.
And he just said what? I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. I killed that little boy.
Eric had no history of violence, but admitted he had been heavily bullied in school due to his bright red hair and freckles.
Eric was tired of being the victim in his mind, and he wanted to see what it felt like to be the victimizer.
He had taken out his rage of being bullied on Derrick, who was an easy target.
And I became the bully that I hated in school.
Despite his young age, Eric was tried as an adult, making him the youngest murder defendant in New York at the time.
Let's say Eric just seemed like a normal child, and then the rage explodes. It does not diminish the fact that he understood what he was doing.
He was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 9 years to life in prison.
It's understandable that, they would never want me to be out in society.
Over the years, Eric was repeatedly denied parole, officials fearing he was still a danger to the public.
Every time that inmate is up for parole, you relive, I think, what happened.
Now, nearly 30 years later, he's been granted parole.
I know my actions have caused a terrible loss in the Robie family, and for that I'm truly sorry.
Eric was released in February 2022 and will remain under strict supervision for the rest of his life.
You can label me a monster, a cold-blooded killer, a demon child, Satan incarnate. I don't care what the name you give me. Doesn't mean that that's who I am.
The woods where the murder occurred were torn down with help from Eric's great-grandfather, and now in its place stands a statue dedicated to Derrick.